Hello everybody. Got a interesting thing here to cover. I said on my show on Thursday that I'd want to probably do another blog talk radio program on Saturday, which is tomorrow. Probably same time around 9 p.m. to maybe 11 Eastern time. And I told you what I was going to discuss is something that's kind of important. Maybe not even kind of, but potentially definitely important. And I'm gonna read this to you right now. I'll just do a separate video now on this, and this will make for some good discussion. I'll probably read it again on Saturday, and maybe take some calls if you guys know any more information that you want to share. It'd be good to call in on the show and share it. Has to do with space, NASA, Comet Elenin probably. The year 2012. This all plays a role in there. And I just wrote myself some notes the other day that I was going to cover on the radio show. But I think I'm going to do a video now on this. And again, you'll know what we're talking about. Maybe you'll do a little research if you want. And then Saturday, if you want to call in and share some information with me that I don't have or something, that would be great. This will make a pretty good show. So I noticed NASA stopped the shuttle program, space shuttle program, not that long ago. It came out of nowhere. We're going to dismantle the shuttle program, and there's going to be 2 more flights, shuttle missions, and that's it, right? So I thought to myself, what are the chances of that? This thing's been going on forever. And all of a sudden, again, we're so close to that 2012 date for whatever reason. And again, people argue it's October 28th, 2011. And other people say, no, it's still December 21st, 2012. If it's that close to me, it really doesn't matter that much to me. Something that's thousands of years old, foreseeing, out that long into the future, whatever. So NASA stopped the shuttle program on or about just before that little special 2012 date. Now the space station, the ISS, International Space Station, could potentially be abandoned, and they're already talking about it because we were told, when the shuttle missions end, we're going to be sending our guys up through the Russian space program, their rockets. They have good stuff, works fine. They'll go up and do what they need to do through the Russians. Oh, okay. Cool. All of a sudden, out of, I think, 138, from the very first one all the way to 138 different launches from Russia, those same rockets, flawlessly, just perfect every time. And then just very, very recently, like the other day, one of them has a problem. And as soon as it has a problem, NASA guy comes out and starts talking about we may just have to can the whole mission from now on and just, in other words, forget the whole Russian thing, which then tells you, how the hell do we get to space? What is he talking about? They haven't even said what the problem was from the Russian rocket yet. They haven't investigated. And this guy from NASA all of a sudden comes out, hey, we may just have to can the whole program. They're telling you that in advance. They're going to can the program, but it's not for the reasons that you think it is. So I raised the BS flag as soon as I heard NASA was shutting down the space program with the shuttles. Talked to my friends at work. Matter of fact, there's probably a video of me on YouTube talking about it. I don't know. And I knew that there's no way they're going to do that right now. They can't say it's the economy, there's no way. No way would they stop something like that. So they said, well, we're not. We're going to Russia to get our guys up in the air. We'll just pay them a fee to do it. Oh, okay, well, that's a money saver. Good idea. Only to find out, a little problem with the Russian rocket. First time out of 138 launches, we may have to can the whole program. Okay, yeah. So what happens when the International Space Station has nobody inside of it? Well, things can't happen that are very important, that need to happen, certain repairs, certain maintenance, all kinds of stuff. In other words, what I'm leading to is, what if that son of a gun gets a little too close into the orbit of Earth at a level where it starts getting pulled down into Earth and burns up in the sky, which, by the way, all of it won't burn up. There'll be massive pieces coming down, possibly to a city near you or who knows where. And I'll tell you, let me punch in this address real quick, because Richard Hoagland, not a conspiracy theorist, this guy is pretty solid, been around the space scene since before I was born, And I just want to tell you, the name of the show is Coast to Coast AM, and then it has the date 8/29/11. Richard C. Hoagland on Comet, Elenin, Part 1 of 6. Search. Matter of fact, I'll probably do it for you. In the description, I'll put 1 through 6 of these this interview. It's a really good interview. He brings up a lot of good points. And some of the stuff he was saying was hitting with me. Like the stuff I just mentioned to you. That was what was ringing in my ear as I heard him talk. And then he got onto that subject. Sure enough, okay, now I really want to listen to what he has to say. So, for the first time in 11 years of this space station, last 11 years, there will be no one on board this space station. It will be unmanned if this takes place, which apparently it's looking like they're pushing for them to get off that thing. We're not going up. We got a rocket problem. And again, there's something with that 2012 date that they do not want people up in space because of some kind of energy or something that may be bombarding the planet that it's going to hurt people, etc., knock out satellites. I don't know. But the sun, if you watch the sun right now, the signs are already there that something's going on. Sun is becoming very violent. And a violent sun equals a violent earth, weather changes, catastrophes, earthquakes, etc., 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 which we just had a 7.2 or 1 off of Alaska, I think. And then, of course, no damage. Okay, downgrade it to a 6.8. They always do that so many times. Why? Because on the what is that? National the hurricane website. What is that damn thing called? Can't even think of the NOAA. Can't know why I can't think of that right now. They have scales, and one of the scales is like 6.0 to 6.9. How many happen per year on average? The next scale 7.0 to 7.9. How many happen on average per year? And last year, which I actually predicted, was that we'd have a record number of bigger earthquakes. And again, thanks to the Webbot report enlightening me on some things, I made that conclusion too, and it was right. I've never been able to find another year where we had as many 7.0 plus than last year. This year we're on a great track record, possibly maybe even beating that. There's no telling. But we just had another one. But what happens when they take a 7.1 and knock it down to a 6.8? Well, it doesn't go on the list. It goes on the 6 list, and there's 100 and something every year of the 6s, 6.0, 6.9 in that range, that goes on that list. So it's not too frightening or worrisome. But if they really calculated the 7 point whatever and left it a damn thing alone without downgrading it, you'd see a significant more of those happening in recent times. And enough are already happening that shouldn't bother you to begin with, even as they manipulate the data. So he was saying how these Russians have launched around 140 of these rockets, and they all went up, operated perfectly. Now all of a sudden, one of them fails, and excuse me, our people at NASA say we may have to scrap the whole idea, and we'll be left with using robots up in space to do what astronauts are doing now. Now, the Hopi Indians said that the blue star Kachina will be visible in the sky as a whole world type of thing. When you see that thing, you're going to know it. Whatever the blue star Kachina is, and we'll get to that in a second. And shortly after that event, you see this blue star Kachina, the new world would emerge. And this is also what modern religions would refer to as the end times. The problem I have with the end times is that it's a cyclical pattern. It happens every time. As a matter of fact, you can count the years like the Mayans did, 5,125-year cycles. There's also some other cycles, a 13,000-year cycle, and another one, 26,000-year cycle, that all have something to do with these catastrophes. So, yeah, you could take the Bible and other religious books and keep them because they'll still make sense for these cycles. Even though they're 5,000 years, one's 13,000 years, whatever, it'll still make sense. The problem I have with it is that I don't believe that God or any, whatever you want to wish, whatever your belief is, let's just leave it at God for now, is sitting up there and saying, you know what, boy, look at these sinners down there. I think I'm going to go ahead and press the reset button right about now. There's no way that can happen because, again, this is cyclical. It's found in ice core samples going back hundreds of thousands of years. It's marked basically every 5,125 years, every approximately 13,000 years, and every approximately 26,000 years. Well, the 26,000 year cycle is actually the ages in the sky. We have 12, right? The signs of the zodiac, age of Pisces, age of Aquarius, all that stuff. Each of those ages are 2,160 years long. Times 12 puts you at that roughly 26,000 year time to get all the way around the ages, if you will. Half of that point is the 13,000 time frame, and then for whatever reason, the Mayan calendar, 5,125 years times 5 is exactly the same date. 26,000 year cycle. Excuse me, not date, but it equals the same 26,000 year cycle approximately. It's actually 25,900. It's some number, but I'm going to round off to 26,000. So the fact that these people made a calendar 5,125 years ago that ends next year, basically, and again, some argue that it's this year, whatever. To me, there's no way that this is a God's upset at people for sinning or for doing this and that, and he's just tired of people, he's going to wipe everybody out. Or the non-believers or anything else. I don't buy that part of it. So let me continue. Where was I at here? Right, so the modern religions will refer to this as the end times. That's what the Hopi Indians are talking about. Their fourth world ends, what they're taught, and then a new fifth world for them, because it's the fourth one according to their history. There'll be a fifth generation or world, whatever you want to call it, coming. And before that interim period, the old ways, they're exposed, the truths come out, everything is washed away, so to speak, comes out in the clean for the new way to make way for the new way, or the new earth, the new world to come in existence. However, that interim period between what they call the fourth world and fifth world, oh boy, it's not pretty. It is not going to be fun to be around at that time. It will be exciting. Don't get me wrong, just to understand that you're alive during the 5,125 year cycle. You happen to be on the planet. How many humans how many generations is that? Oh my God, thousands that didn't get to see this take place, whatever. So, or maybe not thousands, hundreds or whatever of different generations, many multiples of hundreds of generations. We're here now, so this is going to be interesting, but I'm also telling you it's not going to be fun. Trust me on that. Food, water, and I'm talking major storable food. Dehydrated food, you need that. Water supply, at least get a big Berkey, so even a puddle of crappy water, you can at least drink it through a big Berkey. Of course, you're going to need a gun and to protect yourself, because everyone's going to come to the mindset, if things get really super bad, that I'm a human being. I'll do anything I can do to survive. You call 911, the police don't even come. That kind of scenario. And you don't want to be in the city for that if you can help it. Which is why I'm trying desperately to get out towards Pastor Dowell's way. It's just not lining up for me right now. So if by chance there's like a really, really, really rich person watching my videos and said, man, I've got more money than God or than most people. I'm rich. And I like that guy, old J Snip 4. He's my boy. My people. I want to hook him up. You know what? I'll accept it. I'll tell you right now. Normally, I'm not the kind of guy to accept stuff like for other people. I'll try, no, keep it. You need it. But in this scenario, the wife and I and kids, thank you very much. We'll hook this place up. You want a house on here too? We'll hook you up on that for giving this piece of land to me or whatever it is. Just saying, if I got any rich people you want to hook a brother up, that's all I'm saying. I will not deny it. So, on a serious note here, okay, they said that another interesting event, and it was the final prophecy of all these things that would happen, was that a city dwelling in the heavens or sky would come crashing down to earth as the final Hopi prophecy. When this event happens, you can pretty much get ready. Sometime in the near future after that point, the old world is ending, the new one's beginning. You better be prepared because it isn't pretty. Until you get into that new world or new age, whatever you want to call it. And not just like day one, but like probably years into it, you'll realize this whole new society is going to be nice. A whole new refreshing start, if you will. But it's going to take time to get to that. So, there was a type of object that we put in space. It was called Skylab. I don't know exactly when it came down. It was either in the 60s or 70s. It fell to the sky, from the sky down on the earth. It wasn't that big of a thing though. and it was a sky lab. People were inside of it. Not that they came down with it, but it lost its ability to stay in orbit and came down. And it did burn up in the atmosphere. However, plenty of it also went through and landed on Earth. I think it landed. I don't even. I tell you, I don't even know where it landed. There was another event, the Mir from Russia, also came crashing down. It was bigger than the Skylab, and it was in many big pieces that crashed down somewhere in the Australian outback. I don't think it caused any damage. But those two things both pale in comparison to the International Space Station. It's like specks of sand compared to this thing. I mean, honestly, it's just, this thing is huge. So, was it in the 70s or whatever, that Skylab falling, was that the final prophecy? Or was that nothing, and the ISS is fixing to come to Earth? And if it comes into Earth and is burning up in the sky, is it going to look like the blue star Kachina? I'm going to say no. Because I don't think these ancient prophecies would know about man putting some device in the... Well, I take that back. Because they do have the prophecy saying that a great dwelling place will come down from the skies, and when it does, then this prophecy is fulfilled, and you better get ready. So yeah, I have to retract that. Or better yet, I'll use what the politicians and the banksters and Ben Bernanke and all these guys say when they get caught red-handed. Oh, I know. Yeah, I know you quoted me. I misspoke. What the hell is misspoke? You said something, came out of your mouth. It made sense at the time, even though you are biting your tongue now. What the hell is misspoke? It's just a stupid politician term. But because I like these stupid politicians so much, I'm going to steal their term real quick. Sorry about that, I misspoke. Like that? I unexpectedly misspoke. Love it. So, let me just continue here. The Webbot reports have been talking about, which I never mentioned this on my YouTube videos, but I definitely have some older reports. I clearly remember, not all of it, but I remember this part, which is why I wrote this to myself. Webbot reports have been talking about there will be a time in the near future in which objects from space, and I don't mean like foreign objects, stuff that we humans put up into space, satellites and this and that and whatever, for some reason can't maintain their orbit, something happens, and they come crashing down into Earth on the surfaces, different places, different objects. And the citizenry, who are perplexed by all this and very interested and fascinated, ooh, one came over here by us. We're going out in the field to check it out and see what it is. Came from the heavens, some kind of satellite. We never get to see the stuff up close. We want to see what it is. Is there some kind of, secret technology the government's got? Let's go check it out. Only to find out that you don't want to be anywhere near this thing. It's probably radioactive or some type of... can harm you for sure. I'm going to go with radioactive based off of the descriptions I got of the Webbot report. You're not going to want to be picking stuff up and touching it and smelling it and looking at it and getting near it. You're going to want to stay away from it. Now, if you have a Geiger counter or a radiation detector, that's up to you if you want to decide to do that when that takes place. There's nothing that you're going to be able to take off of it that will be of any use to you. I'll tell you that now. So that's been in the Webbot reports a while ago. Long before NASA ever talked about dismantling the shuttle project or the space, missions and all that. And long before, of course, this little rocket in Russia stopped and he came out and said, hey, NASA guy, we're going to, we may have to scrap the whole idea of working with the Russians. Okay, so what does that leave? Well, we'll just have to put robots up in space instead. So robots are going to be able to do what these human beings do to keep the International Space Station in orbit. Ain't going to happen. So the great dwelling place, I'm thinking, coming crashing down, wasn't Skylab, it wasn't the Mir. Maybe it's this big boy. How about that? Who knows? So, the Hopi prophecy goes like this. My people await Pahana, the lost white brother from the stars, as do all our brothers in the land. He will not be like the white men we now know, who are cruel and greedy. We were told of their coming long ago, but still we await Pahana. He will bring with him the symbols and the missing piece of that sacred tablet, now kept by the elders, given to them when he left. That shall identify him as our true white brother. They have a piece of something. He has the other piece. When he returns, they will know it's him because he will have the other piece that the ancestors from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, I guess potentially thousands really, years ago was given. Now here's something interesting. This kind of sounds like it's got a little religious story to it. The Jesus Christ story. He's going to return again. You know, no one knows when he'll return, but when he does, you'll know it's him and this and that. It's very interesting how a non-religious whatsoever, don't know any story of the Bible, don't know any religion at all, Hopi Indians from back then, maybe nowadays they heard about it, but not then. They don't mess with no religion like that. They had their own little beliefs and stuff. So it's just interesting how you hear this same Jesus story before Jesus, after Jesus, during Jesus, had a virgin mother, you know, was born from a virgin mother, died on a cross, rose 3 days later, had 12 followers. It's like the same story, just slightly different every now and then. It's just odd. You know, I'm reading this now from the true white brother coming back to the Hopi people, known as Pahana, P-A-H-A-N-A. But anyways, you know, and I'm open to anything. Like I say, I'm not saying that all the stories of religion and this and that are fake, or they're not. I don't know. And that's the hardest part of piecing all this together. And should you believe in this way? Should you not? Is that true? Is that not? It's like we don't know. So we go with our, you know, faith and hope in our church and our religious belief, only to find out that they're full of crap and lied to us constantly. So if that's the case, then why should I believe any of these stories that they tell me I should believe in? You know, and you have to think about that. That's your decision. So it says, the fourth world shall end soon, and the fifth world will begin. This the elders everywhere know. The signs over many years have been fulfilled, and so few are left. This is the first sign. We are told of the coming of the white-skinned men like Pahana, but not living like Pahana, men who took the land that was not theirs, and men who struck their enemies with thunder. How about a gun? The old muzzle loaders or whatever, right? The second sign. Our lands will see the coming of spinning wheels filled with voices. In his youth, my father saw this prophecy come true with his own eyes. The white men bringing their families in wagons across the prairies. Yep. The third sign. A strange beast, like a buffalo, but with great long horns, will overrun the land in large numbers. These White Feather saw with his eyes the coming of the white man's cattle. Big horns, right? Cattle. The fourth sign. The land will be crossed with snakes of iron. Railroad tracks? Yep, probably. The fifth sign. The land shall be crisscrossed by a giant spider's web. Now, would that be roadways, sidewalks, telephone pole wires? It's up to debate. Some people say, oh, maybe the World Wide Web. Well, you can't see that, and you can't really say the land's crisscrossed by that. I'm going with like telephone poles and things like that. Whatever. Sixth sign. The land shall be crisscrossed with rivers of stone that make pictures in the sun. Oh, you mean like a nice paved road that has a mirage and that whole thing, the little heat wave? Oh, interesting. Maybe that's what he's talking about. I don't know. The seventh sign. You will hear of the sea turning black and many living things dying because of it. Immediately, your alarm bells are probably hearing oil spill, BP oil spill, nuclear waste from Japan, dumped out to sea. China recently did some kind of survey or something that they found out floating out in the ocean somewhere. And I want to say, if my memory serves me correct, 100,000 kilometer long or area, 100,000 kilometer. 100,000 kilometers. That's a massive amount of area that they found that was pretty heavily radioactive. You wouldn't want to be anywhere near it. Seas turning black and many things dying because of it. So oil spill and radioactive waste. Just saying. Throw that out there. This is the eighth sign. You will see many youth who wear their hair long like my people come and join the tribal nations to live or to learn their ways and wisdom. Is that the hippie movement? I don't know. That did take place during the hippie movement. And this is the 9th and last sign. You will hear of a dwelling place in the heavens above the earth that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star. Very soon after this, the ceremonies of my people will cease. So my question is this the blue star Kachina that they're talking about? Or is it just an event to mark, hey, we're at the end here, and then something comes across the sky, Comet Elenin or something else, I don't know, and it's got this massive blue beam, bright, whatever, we never seen anything like it before, and it's definitely blue. Maybe, and maybe that's the blue star Kachina. I don't know. Matter of fact, I don't think anyone can say 100% sure. We can't see into the future, with our eyes, so the webbot's the next best thing I've got. So he says, these are the signs that great destruction is coming. The world shall rock to and fro. And again, you can open your Bible, Revelations and stuff, and just Book of Revelations or different parts, and you're going to say, well, maybe not worded like this, but man, that sure sounds familiar. Again, you can take that Bible and go take it with you through every one of these 5,000 plus cycles, and it'll make sense every time because it's a cycle, and the same things happen. A big cleansing of the earth and its people, and then it starts over, kind of, right? Everyone's brought back into a different age because everything just crashed. We got to start over anew. And I'll give you a keyword out of the webbot. Humanity soon will be taken back to a previous age. So we're talking bicycle, horse and carriage, farming with our hands, riding bicycles. I don't know. But there's going to be a time period where we don't have the technologies and the know-hows of doing things with the stuff we do it with now. None of that's going to matter, apparently. Got to throw that out there. So, the white man will battle against other people in other lands with those who possessed the first light of wisdom. Now, let's get serious here. The white man will battle against other people in other lands with those who possessed the first light of wisdom. Isn't Iraq and that whole Middle Eastern section pretty biblical, right? Isn't that where all of these stories came from? So that would be the first light, first knowledge, wisdom came from that area. And the white man, America, Roman Empire, with the help from Britain, etc., is fighting with those people. Man, that sounds good to me. There will be many columns of smoke and fire, such as Whitefeather has seen the white man make in the deserts not far from here. Only those which come will cause disease and a great dying. Many of my people, understanding the prophecies, shall be safe. Those who stay and live in the places of my people also shall be safe. Now where do they live? Out in the country. I mean, literally. That's where the Indian people live, the Hopis too. They don't live, they're not what's that? Oh, you thought they were at the Seminole Casino Bingo place? No, that's not that Indian group, no. So anyone who is with them will also be safe in their area. Then there will be much to rebuild, and soon, very soon afterward, Pahana will return. Sounds like the return of Christ, doesn't it? He shall bring with him the dawn of the fifth world. He shall plant the seeds of his wisdom in their hearts. Even now the seeds are being planted. These shall smooth the way to the emergence into the fifth world. But Whitefeather shall not see it. I am old and dying. You, perhaps, will see it. In time. So I think that would make a pretty decent video, I'm assuming. Discussion on Blog Talk Radio. And if it doesn't, and there's not much people, much activity going on, we'll just close the show down, call it a night. So I'm going to do that for tomorrow, Saturday, the 3rd of September, 2011, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's all I got. We'll see how it goes, and I hope to see you there and participating tomorrow. And I've got the phone thing figured out. If we have a bad connection again, I can just disconnect from Skype and reconnect, and then I can take calls if that problem comes up. Anyways, take care.